I sense someone who did not like and subscribe. Greetings and hello there, everyone. It's me, your Star Wars father, your erstwhile Star Wars dad, and I'm here today with the leader of the guild for Nooch 2 Hyper. We're going to have a dad talk with him today. Bkwyrm, give us a hello.
Hello.
And
nice
there
to see you.
there he is, man. So give me 1 minute. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell a quick little story, and then I'll start asking you a bunch of questions. All right? So here's the deal. About 2 months ago, I was sitting there, and I started my Nooch 2 Hyper account about 7 months ago now. And my guild for Star Wars Dad allowed me in there, and then we started doing Rote, Rise of the Empire Territory, but as when it came out. And I realized a couple months in that I had a real problem on my Nooch 2 Hyper account in that I was no longer getting Wat Tambor shards, and I was going to have to buy them with all my Get 3 currency from Rote. So I went out and looked for a new guild, and I forget who introduced us, and that's probably bad. I shouldn't say it. I'm hurting somebody's feelings, but I came to your guild, and you allowed me into your guild, and here's my Wat Tambor right now at 5 stars. He's at 0 out of 85, so he's just barely 5 stars, working his way up. We got probably 8 or 9 more months to go, but I just want to thank you personally. First of all, thanks for letting me into the guild. I appreciate it.
Oh, certainly, no problem. Yeah, it's good to have some folks joining in, and especially folks that are good guild members and willing to work on those geos and help us out and get some Wat shards for everyone.
And there you go. So let's talk a little bit. I wanted to say your name Bkwyrm, but you said it was just Bkwyrm. So
yeah, that's how I think of it. Yeah.
And one of the first things you said to me when we got on here was you said you're an old guy too, like me. So what's your story? What's your Star Wars story, and how'd you get to be here with the game?
All right. So my Star Wars story, I'm an original trilogy type of guy. I was 5 years old when Star Wars came out, and my friend across the street went and saw it opening weekend, and for a week told me about like how the world had changed, and there was this new thing called Star Wars, and it was just the coolest thing ever. And so I went with him and his dad the next weekend, and over the summer we watched Star Wars together about 12 times in the theater. And for a big part of my growing up, like the only decision I had to make was, are we going to play big Star Wars or little Star Wars? Like big Star Wars was you go to the ditch out back and you get a stick and pretend you're Luke Skywalker, and little Star Wars was you play with your action figures, you know? And so that was me growing up. I've seen all of the movies opening weekend ever since. And really, I mean, I was thinking about it with this interview coming up, and like, I think that's been like a big part of my personality, that like just everyone knows me as the guy who's a big Star Wars fan, like my whole adult life. I'm a teacher. All my students know me as the teacher who is the big Star Wars fan, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's been me. And then I started playing Galaxy of Heroes at launch, played for a little bit. I don't know that I even got up to level cap, and then stopped. Came back around the time that they released like the new Ewoks, like when you could first get Wicket. And I was a big Return of the Jedi fan, so worked on the Ewoks for a bit, stopped for a long time at that point, and then I came back during COVID and needed something to do, and I've pretty much been a daily player since. I remember when I first came back, they were running the events for IG-11 and Queel.
Okay. So right at the beginning of Mandalorian.
Yeah. So right around that second season of The Mandalorian, I think that was towards the end of the summer of 2020, and so I was been a daily player since then. That's about when I started the guild, and at that time, like when I started the guild, my like mix of Gear 10 to Gear 12 Ewoks was like the most powerful team in the guild, and everyone wanted my Chief Chirpa as like their ally because everyone was like level 20, and and we've just built it up from there.
That's awesome. So I guess the coming out in the second season of Mando, that explains a frog egg delicatessen, right?
Yes. I wanted some kind of clever thing. I don't know if I actually found it, but I wanted to get something connected to the Mandalorian, and I was thinking, I considered something along the lines of like, Grogu's babysitters or something like that. But I went with, I think I may have started even right after that episode with Frog Lady. And I thought, frog egg delicatessen.
So the first thing I'll say is I was also 5 years old in 1977. So it sounds like we are. Did you graduate high school in 1990?
I did.
There you go. We are the exact same age, my friend.
Yep.
But look at us. We're still here. We're still kicking all these
Still
years
doing
later.
it. Yeah.
You know, I always talk about my action figures that I had, and I sold them in a garage sale back in the day, which is one of the biggest regrets of my life. But do you remember that, or do you still have your figures?
I do not know when my mom, when I left for college, that she packed up all my stuff and sold most of it. So yeah, it went away.
Yeah, and I always I talk about how the original Luke Skywalker had that retractable lightsaber that went into his
Oh
arm,
yeah.
and it was yellow, and at the end it had like this little tip, this little wobble, this little tip on the anyway. Just all yeah, I love those
Hmm.
figures, man. We
Oh
used
yeah.
to.
My prized possession. I had the big AT-AT that you can put like 8 figures inside and stuff.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's legit, dude. That's legit. Um, and I remember I saw the movie in a drive-in, and I only saw it the one time. We weren't. My parents weren't going to take me to see a movie 12 times, but when once VHS came out, it was on. My buddy and I just watched them relentlessly then.
Hmm.
So you started the guild, and you were sharing your Ewok, and you've come a long way, baby. So what's been your story since then? You've got Jabba and Jedi Master Luke, which are two of the longer farms in the game, and then you got Profundity. So you're kind of going the road less traveled here. You didn't go get one of the easy early galactic legends like Kylo Ren. You didn't go get the Executor. So what's the story with these farms you're doing?
Well, I for a long well, first of all, I do have an alt that's also in the guild, and probably to my detriment, I really treated my alt as a way to farm other teams that I didn't have on my main. And so it's made me kind of avoid teams that I probably should have farmed. Like you'll notice I don't have Darth Revan on my main account here, um, and things. And my Imperial Troopers are really bad. How my account got built up there was I was really focusing not on a Galactic Legend rush as much as I wanted to build out good teams. And so when I came back, my strongest team was my Ewoks. So I immediately went for C3PO and decided if I have C3PO, I better get this CLS team I've heard about. And I think Chupio had just come out. So I did the CLS team and built that up. And again, I'm kind of an original trilogy type of guy. So I've really liked the Rebels. And so I was building that up, went for Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker just because I wanted, Luke Skywalker. And once I had that, I was like, wow, when it's time to go for a GL, let's do JML, and that worked. And since I already had Jedi Knight Luke,
Right.
it made Jabba the right one there. Now, as far as Profundity, um, I'm I'm a dolphin. I spend a little bit, but not much. But Profundity came out right at a time when I happened to have some extra funds in the bank that I could invest somewhere, just for fun. And so Profundity is the one thing I've whaled on. I just pure whaled on it. And honestly, as far as me spending money on the account, that was kind of the best investment I've made because I get 400 crystals a day now, and it's just been a huge boost to my account ever since I got the Profundity.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's really the way to go. So, let me give you a couple. I got a couple questions for you slash tips, maybe. Is that all right with you?
No problem.
All right. So you have crit damage mods on Commander Luke Skywalker, right?
Hmm.
Are you aware that that's not optimal?
Um, I am not really good with mods. I will
Okay.
admit that, and I put the mods on. Like I look it up the first time, I put on the mods, and then I don't really go back. So
All right.
I probably put those mods on a year and a half ago.
If you aren't worried about it, then I'm not going to worry about it. How about that?
Okay, I do need to go through and fix them. I do need to do a big mod session. I'll just have to find the time to do that.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I think mods are a divider in the game. They really can make or break your account. But then the amount of time you have to put into it to really get them done, a lot of people don't want to do it on a consistent basis, and I totally understand that. The mods is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So what else we got here? We got Commander Ahsoka. Do you have plans on getting Jedi Master Kenobi to go along with her?
Yes, I am. I've been looking at that right now. I'm kind of taking some time to build out some teams. My current project is my Maldalorians. I want to get them going, but ideally, what I want to do is kind of hoard a little bit in anticipation of the next GL. Because if the next GL is a rebel, like everyone's talking about Endor Leia,
Right.
um, I want to be in a place where I can, have a bunch of crystals banked and be able to go for that right away. But Jedi Kenobi, or Jedi Master Kenobi, is really the next logical step for my account, because as I do the Mandalorians, I'm going to get Bo-Katan. I've got Cat, and I'll have my 7-star walk next month. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be like passively farming JMK until I find out who that next
Yeah.
GL is. And if it's something I want to go for, I'll do that. If not, if it's something I really want, I'll go with for the next GL. But if it's not Endor Leia, then I probably will go JMK, just
Yeah.
because my account really is set. That's where my account is. That would be the kind of low hanging fruit for my account for the next GL.
Yeah, and I think you and I are very similar boats. I made a video just a couple days ago. I'm doing the same thing. It's like I on my Nooch 2 Hyper account, it's an account I'm obviously willing to spend a little bit on because people have been, funding the channel, and there's some
Hmm.
funds there to do some stuff with. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to spend, 3,500 to 4,000 bucks with on all the character shards and the gears what really gets you.
Yeah.
So if I can hoard the gear for a while and see what the next GL is, if we get a chance to see, I don't know. But we've also got this Crate Dragon raid coming up, and maybe I want to have some gear set aside for some of that too.
Yeah, I'm feeling like I'm probably in decent shape for the Crate Dragon with having a Jabba team, and like I said, I'm working on those Maldalorians. But yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna probably bring up, like, my Jawas are all 7 stars, and if they look like they'll be okay, I'll at least try to bring them up to like Gear 10 or Gear 12, so I can
Yep.
take some of those easy runs at the Crate Dragon. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, tell me about some of the day-to-day things with running a guild. I know you mentioned when you mentioned you were interested in doing this, you wanted to talk about how running a guild and what that involves and what happens with running it. So I have run a guild before, and I've been an officer in a
Hmm.
guild many times for a long. Most time I've been in the game, I've been an officer or running a guild. So give me some of the give me some of the nitty gritty, then maybe the things that people don't understand what it takes to run a guild.
Well, yeah, the main thing I wanted to get out there, and I do want to say I really appreciate how you, in your videos, you've encouraged people to, if you're gonna be in a guild, to get Watt shards, you want to get those geos so that you're participating, you're helping out the guild, all that kind of stuff. Um, and because there are, let's face it, there are some YouTubers out there that say you just, you know get in, don't do your geos, don't worry about cam, and just collect the shards and everything. And so I appreciate how you encourage people to do that. But
Wait a minute. Who? I'll ask you later. I don't want to know. I wasn't aware anybody was saying that, but okay, yeah, yeah.
well, I've heard some, there's
Well,
some guides out there that say it's easy to get into I don't know that they really encourage you not to do that, but they tell you it's easy to get into a guild that's getting all that stuff, and then in their guides they'll say don't get geos,
oh,
don't worry
okay.
about whether,
Hmm.
things like that. So, but anyways, I don't want to name names, but I appreciate how you encourage people to participate. But it's been a real struggle for us, to build up the guild, because you get like 1.5 million or 2 million GP a week, and then you're building up. And like, I remember when we were trying to cross the 150 million GP barrier so that we could get better rewards from TW. And all of a sudden, we'd build up by like 5 million GP, and then someone would leave because they're like, well,
Yeah.
I can get better rewards somewhere else. And now we've just lost like 3 weeks worth of progress. And then we'd build back up, and then we'd lose someone else. And so, I know everyone is like, you gotta, find that best guild and get the most you can out of it. But there's also, I think there's real value in, if you find a guild that's like some good people and they're working hard, even if it's not the optimal place for you, like, maybe you're one of the higher end accounts in that guild, stick with it and join in and have fun with the whole group and help each other like grow together. That's kind of been my description of our guild the whole time is, a group of folks willing to work together and help each other grow. So that's my take on it. And it was really frustrating for a while to always, you lose one or two accounts and it like sets you back weeks
Yeah.
with the progress you're trying to make. And you can't recruit. Like I can't recruit a 5 million GP account into a 150 million GP guild because, if someone has 3 million GP and they've got a team that can do Crankcore and they've got Geos, man, they're going to get into a bigger guild than mine.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm losing 5 million GP and replacing them with 1.5 million.
It's a constant
So
battle, and at some point you get over the hump. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, and for me that's why I
yeah,
kind of got out of the recruiting game. It was just kind of exhausting, and that's the toughest part about being the leader, from my opinion.
it is. Yeah. And I will say, I think we're in a great place now because two things have happened. One, the challenge rancor raid kind of, has become obsolete with the crate dragon coming out. And so that was just a huge hurdle of getting enough relic 5 teams. And so that's no longer an issue. And then we've crossed that 200 million GP barrier. So we're going to be alternating between Dark Side Geo to help everyone get those Watt shards and Rise of the Empire. And I think we're at a point now where we actually can recruit some of those bigger accounts because we can offer what a lot of other bigger guilds can.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I'll say regarding the geos, going back to, I mean, I honestly was fortunate that I had a guild that did allow me in without the geos on my main account for a long time. Um, and I put it on the back burner. I really shouldn't have, but I did. And and now that I've just changed I really should have done that, and I'm doing it now just in retrospect to make sure I get it done. But it really isn't fair to everybody else if they're carrying you across line. Unless there's some kind of special arrangement that you've got with your guild to say, let us worry about the watch shards and you go get, whatever it is. I don't know.
yeah, you get that Relic 7 Ugnaught now for Rise of the Empire.
So, all right. So, man, this is great. Bkwyrm, I really appreciate you coming on and talking to you. Are there any final words you want to give, just a parting words for our audience to let them, maybe your thoughts on the game or something about the game that maybe you've got that people are missing out on?
Well, I don't know that I have something people are missing out on, but I know there's a lot of complaining out there, and there are things that can be fixed. But man, I'm feeling like the game is in just a really great place. I mean, what a fun week! We find out we're finally getting fleet loadouts. We've got the Crate Dragon raid coming up. We've got new stuff. We've got stuff with Jedi Survivor. I feel like the game's in a good place, and yeah, there's some bugs out there, and that'll get fixed. But I'm excited. So I'm looking forward to. Like I said, I'm a teacher. I'm looking forward to getting into the summer and having some time when I can really have some fun with us. Go.
Yeah, we're the same mindset there. I'll just give a little life lesson here, and I'm sure you've been through this too. It sounds like we have a similar outlook on stuff, but there, from now until the day you pass this earth, there will always be things that you can complain about. And
Mm-hmm.
I just don't see. Oh, I complain as much as not. I can't say I never complain, but as far as that, if you're coming in with a complaint without a real good idea of how to fix it, and then you just dwell on the negative, repeatedly, and you can't get past it, that's just a tough way to go through life, man. It's gonna eat you up inside and probably chew you up and spit you out eventually, and maybe I don't choose to be positive all the time, but when I find myself in that negative mode, I do make a choice to switch it up and just say, you know what, it could be a lot worse. And I'll give I'll give a real life example here of the town I live in. So I live in a town of 15,000 people in Missouri, and there's a Facebook group, for the town. What's going on in this town? And I remember somebody at one point posted on there, I've seen better roads in third world countries, and I didn't respond. And I just wanted to say, like, I know people that have been to third world countries, and when they come back from those countries, they drop to their knees and thank whoever they thank that they live here because, man, there's always something to complain about, but we certainly get our knickers in a bunch about some pretty basic, I guess, first world problems on a daily basis.
Yeah, yeah, man. Just being where we're at, and I mean, we get to whatever we do in our daily lives and work and all that kind of stuff. We get to spend a chunk of time playing a game about Star Wars and talking about, space wizards with laser swords.
Yep.
I think our lives are probably in pretty good shape compared to a lot of the world. So.
Well, there you go, Bkwyrm. We're on the same page there. We're the same age. We got the same outlook on life. We've been through I'm sure we've both been through the muck on some level or another, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Well, everybody, that's great. I appreciate your time, Bkwyrm. This has been really great. I loved our talk today, and hope everybody else enjoyed this as well. Look for some sage advice from a couple of old dads here on the Dad Talks today. So I will talk to everybody soon. Look for our next Dad Talks, our next video, our next stream. Jump on there. Make sure to, let me pop a little like and subscribe. But you know what? There's 2 videos going up right now. Choose to watch one of those or click the subscribe button in the middle. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. And always remember, Nooch too good.